I really wanted to get clear on my X factor, like what makes me unique, what makes me stand out, because for so long it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing totally, but I just also felt really confused as to like what topics do I talk about, because I talked about business, then money, and then relation. It was a lot of different things, and I just couldn't find something to consistently focus on, which I just felt intuitively that would really support me. Like, what's my X factor? What makes me unique?
In a sea of coaches, life coaches, in a sea of business coaches, in a sea of relationship coaches, where there's so many people that are offering the same thing. Let's just say like a coaching program that will help you get from A to B. How do you stand out?
Welcome to It's Not What You Think, the podcast that takes you on a transformative journey to rewrite your story of greatness and reawaken your soul's purpose. I'm your host, Celine DaCosta, a subconscious mind expert, master coach, and believer in the limitless power and magic that lives within all of us. My intention in this podcast is to propel you into your next level of success so that you are free to create the life that your heart most desires. Through deep, actionable insights, personal stories, and world-class guests, I'll provide you with the tools, strategies, and resources you need to unlock the fullest expression of who you're meant to be in this lifetime so that you can consciously design a reality that is beyond what you could have ever dreamed of. Join me on this journey to personal growth and evolution, and let's live our lives in accordance with our highest soul's calling. This podcast is your weekly check-in to help this path become more simple, obtainable, and fun. Thank you for tuning in today, and now let's dive in. Hello, beautiful soul family. Welcome back to It's Not What You Think. Today is a day to share with you an amazing case study with one of my gorgeous clients, Jasmine Lipska. And Jasmine's story is absolutely inspirational, which she will share with you in just a few moments. Jasmine came in and did a 4-month container with me. So short, sweet, and potent. And today we're going to be unwrapping and sharing more about what she came in to do. Her transformation in so little time has really been formidable, and how she was able to get herself and lead herself through the incredible transformation, which we will briefly go into. But before we do, Jasmine, hi, welcome to the podcast. And would you share a bit with us about what you do, why you're here, and anything else you want to share before we dive in?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is really exciting. And so I'm Jasmine Lipska. I am a women's life coach. I've been coaching for about 3 years now. And similar to you, I focus on subconscious reprogramming, all that stuff that I love, which is also a reason why I came to you. And really my work is in helping women to embody their healthy feminine energy, to thrive in life, their love lives, and if they have a business, in business as well, just really leading from their feminine energy. That's what I love. And what I love helping women with. So yeah, that's what I do.
Beautiful. Thank you. So let's dive into the work that we've done together, because, even I was, from our conversations after this work and even reading what you shared with us, via email, I'm just so inspired to really dive in and talk about these shifts. And what's really exciting about, interviewing you today, Jasmine, is that I've done a few case studies for the podcast so far, and it's clients who have worked with me 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, right? So a bit more for a bit longer term. And I'm actually excited to share with our audience today also what can happen in just a few months, right? Like not just what happens over the course of 1 year or 2 years, but how much can really shift in just a matter of months when you are committed to this work. When you say yes to yourself, it is incredible how quickly timelines can shift and how much you can quantum leap in so little time. So if you could share with us, what did your life and your business look like before you were working with me? And what led you to ultimately decide to come to me and say yes to this work?
Yeah, so before we started working together, I guess the main thing I came to you for was money mindset related things. So before starting with you, I just found myself getting very caught up in that chasing for more and more and more and more, the next level, the 10K, 20K, 30K, and this never ending feeling of like what I have is never enough. I need more, and just attaching my sense of self-worth and worthiness as a coach to how much money I was making. And I had enough of it. It was really just burning me out. And I also wanted to grow my confidence as a coach as well. I'd received some, hate or whatnot in the past, and that affected my confidence a bit. And I wanted to grow my confidence. When I had done a session with you a year prior, a story clarity intensive, and that like literally blew my mind. It blew my mind. It was way more than I could have ever expected. And a year prior, it was more about it was on confidence as well as a coach. And then late last year, I did another story clarity intensive with you because I just felt this call to it. My intuition. I'm very intuitive. I listen to my intuition, no matter the investment, right? And then after that story clarity intensive, which was focused on money and mindset and abundance, I just felt like I needed to just this calling to work in a deeper container with you, to go all in and to heal my relationship with money, to be at peace with it and to feel more relaxed in life in general. So that's what I came to you for. I just know that you're one of a kind. The work that you've done, I haven't done with any sort of coach before. It's mind-blowing, and I knew that I'd be taking a lot away from it. So I was like, you know what, let's do this. And yeah, one of the best decisions ever.
Thank you. And I've loved watching you glow as well. I mean, well, let's actually dive into it. What during our time together, what did you expect to receive, like going in, what did you expect to receive from this experience? And then what did you feel you actually, what were the biggest, actually, let me rephrase this. It's the question is reformulating itself as I ask it in real time, even though I've asked this question so many times, is what did you expect to receive from this experience? And what were the things that really surprised you and took you aback about doing this work once you got started? Because it is, it's deep work, it's intense work, it's powerful work. And I know some people, many people that work with me, they are almost like, did not see that one coming. So what was your specific experience of expectation and then realization of what we were doing?
Yeah, so something I forgot to mention to the first question was the other thing I came to you for was I really wanted to get clear on my X factor, like what makes me unique, what makes me stand out, because for so long it's a good thing, it's not a bad thing totally, but I just also felt really confused as to like what topics do I talk about, because I talked about business, then money, and then relation. It was a lot of different things, and I just couldn't find something to consistently focus on, which I just felt intuitively that would really support me. Like what's my X factor, what makes me unique? And so I wanted to my expectation my expectation was actually in the first session or two that I was thinking, you know what, Celine, she's gonna find my X factor for me, she's gonna point it out and tell me, and I'm finally gonna know. Like I literally thought that, and I never told you this, but I thought you were like gonna ask me questions and then tell me, Jasmine, this is your X factor. So that was an expectation. That was an expectation I had. And then, lo and behold, of course, it didn't go that way. Turned out even better. Actually, what happened was you always asked really powerful questions I'd never been asked before in our sessions, and you always looked beyond the question I was asking. Like the questions I asked you, the things I spoke about, you always saw the deeper layer, like the deeper need, or something that I really learned from our container was you always asked me, what's the truth? Like sort of sometimes I asked quite fluffy questions because I was afraid to say the truth. And so you taught me, what's the truth here? And so by just, going to that, and after each session, there was never a time where you were like, Jasmine, this is your X factor. But by the end of the 4 months, I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know what? I know what it is now. So that was the reality, expectation versus reality. And even for example, I expected for us to be focusing on just money, relationship with money, but by the end of the 4 months, I had grown so much in my relationship, my marriage got even better as well, without us even focusing on it specifically. I think our container really guided me fact, reconnect more with my healthy feminine. And again, we didn't focus on that. I didn't expect that, but that's what happened. So yeah, those are some things.
Oh my God, that's wonderful. And you know what was coming up for me as you were speaking about your X factor is that it blossomed within you.
Mm.
And I could sense, it's funny because you said you never told me this before until now, but I could sense it. I was like, you're like, give it to me, give it to me. And I'm like, I'm not bending. I'm not bending, girlfriend. And, you know, it's funny because, you know, I know you can resonate with this as being a coach yourself, is that the kind of coaching that I've chosen to engage in, the mentorship, the level of mentorship that I've chosen to engage in is no longer about, I'm going to tell you what to do, or I'm going to tell you how to do it. And I'm going to tell you what makes you unique. Who the heck am I? You know, and I know that I've said this to you in sessions, like, who am I to tell you what to do? Who am I to tell you how to do it? Who am I to tell you what your truth is? I'm here to hold a space. I'm here to guide. I'm here to share what my personal experiences is. I'm here to support with the tools and the frameworks and the toolbox and the frameworks and the methodologies to help you give some structure to you know what's coming through you. But ultimately, the most powerful insights blossom from within. And we don't let them blossom because, like you said, we're too afraid to speak our truth, or we're hiding from ourselves, or we're scared of what someone will think, which I know is something you went through. That fear of, like, even, you know, is it okay to share what you share with me around just like, I'm afraid of what you'll think, Celine, and not wanting to share even with me. And I'm like, I'm here to help you, you know. And that was even something I saw you really break through, is that, no, this is my truth and this is what I actually mean. Because the more we claim those abandoned parts of ourselves and actually say, no, this is what the truth is, and this is what I want, and this is what I desire, I claim it, the more you're essentially like paving the way for soul to speak through you. And when you pave the way for soul to speak through you, what you're doing through your intention, you know, what we call in the matrix, we call it goals. I use that language, but really it's all the goal is an intention of what you want to manifest from, you know, dream into reality. And you direct that with your intention. And then all of a sudden, boom, like your soul has like a pathway to go through, which is the pathway of your intention. And then boom, as long as you're showing up and taking action, out pops out the materialization of that, which we'll discuss like what that materialization looked like for you. But thank you so much for sharing that, because now that you know what your X factor is, if I gave it to you and then I texted you this week and I said, yeah, Jasmine, I actually changed my mind. I think your X factor is this. Oh my God, it would set you in cahoots. Like, you would be in chaos. Like, oh my God, I have to rebrand everything, and I have to like rename my podcast, and I have to like redo my program because Celine said that my X factor is something else. But when you know it in your heart, when you know it in your soul, you're immovable, unbendable. Like, there's no way. Like, you know it. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what someone on the internet says. Like, you know that this is who you are. This is what you're here to do. And that is way more valuable than anything I could have told you. And that's why we did this work, right? Excavation, to go really deep into what your truth was. So I'd love to hear from you, Jasmine. From, you know, our time together, what do you feel were the key transformations that you created in this program?
The key ones, I would say, the biggest ones are, well, healing my relationship with money in terms of just feeling at peace and no longer in that rat race of needing to achieve a certain amount to validate myself or my worthiness as a coach. Like, it's just, I'm at peace and it's so good and it's so nice. I'm like, I feel liberated from that. So that's one thing. Another thing was reclaiming my confidence to just say what I want and claim my desires. Like, I want this, and not playing small around that anymore. That was a big one, because I remember in our first session I couldn't even tell you what I wanted. So that was huge for me. Another one is again, it was like an indirect result, but just embodying more of my healthy feminine, because I felt that overall I just felt so much more relaxed and at peace, and, you know, just not so in my masculine, and just, you know, having more of that harmony with my masculine and feminine. So that was beautiful. And I got clear on my X factor. You know, it can always evolve, but I'm so much clearer. I have just this confidence now. Even, you know, my Instagram was stagnant for about 2 to 3 years. And this year, after our coaching, and I got clearer and clearer on my X factor, it's grown again. Like, it's really grown. Reels have gone viral, all of that. And I've never felt so just anchored in what I have to say. Like, in the past, if I said things, I used to feel quite insecure if people left judgments or didn't like what I had to say, probably because I wasn't so anchored in what I believed in. I didn't really know what I believed in. So I've really been able to reclaim my voice and heal that authority wound. And just like, even if another leader in the industry, for example, believes something different to me, I'm okay with that now. I'm okay with having my own beliefs, and I know more like what that is. I know what's true for me, and I speak about it. And, you know, my community has grown on Instagram, and it's wonderful because I've always wanted to grow it more and, you know, share things that really are true for me. And I have that courage now to do that, to stay true to myself. So that's another thing. And it's been just, yeah, really wonderful. So those are a few transformations.
Beautiful. And, you know, for those of you who are listening, just for clarification, and you're wondering, what is an X factor? Because I just realized, let's define what that is. When Jasmine speaks about the X factor, it's really around this piece of when you show up. You know, each one of us has our own unique set of gifts, and you know, our voice. Every single one of us has a unique vibration of our voice and who we are, and how our soul is choosing to come into the, you know, this earth walk and play and express itself. It's like we're all, you know, at the risk of sounding cheesy, it's like each of us is a unique snowflake, you know. And of course, we're, as a collective, we have so many things in common. You know, we have core wounds that are in common. We have the desire to be seen, the desire to be loved, the desire to, you know, be in connection. There's so many needs that we share as human beings, and we're also very individual in our own way. So when we look at ourselves in, for example, in this case, in business, or business is just a unique expression of our soul service. And that's how I see it. You know, I have, at the time of this recording, I believe this is already going to be out, a group program called Business by Soul that's coming out. And it's all that, it's like, this is the core crux of that, is that when we create a business, for us to really create a business from our soul, it needs to be through our unique expression, our programs, how we show up on social media, how we hire, like how we structure our business, how we structure our CEO schedule, all of these things, it's so important to have them be unique to our unique expression. And so this X factor is really like, what's that thing that makes you you? So for example, I'll speak to coaching right now. This applies to different industries. As you know, for those of you listening, there's a case study that I've done with one of my clients who's a doctor. Another one is a wellness practitioner. This applies to any industry, but I'll just speak to coaching because in this case, we're both in the coaching industry, which is, in a sea of coaches, of life coaches, in a sea of business coaches, in a sea of relationship coaches, where there's so many people that are offering the same thing. Let's just say like a coaching program that will help you get from A to B. How do you stand out? How do you stand out against all of the crowds of people offering something similar? And I see a lot of experts really struggling with this. And this is something that Jasmine was struggling with as well, which is like, okay, I know I'm talented and I know I'm good at what I do and I'm passionate about what I do and I have something to offer to a specific group of people, but how the heck am I gonna like get this message across? And the importance of identifying your X factor is really like, what's that thing that gives you an edge? How do you show up in a way that when you speak, maybe your opinion differs from like what most people in the industry are saying right now, but you own it confidently. Or maybe you have a different approach on how to coach or how to do the work that you do. Even something that, you know, Jasmine was saying, it's very traditional, conventional for coaches to sit there and tell you what to do. I'm not doing that. My X factor is that I am unconventional. My X factor is that I work with energy and then I land it in strategy. there's a lot of X factors that I have, that Jasmine has. And it's really, we are the only ones that are going to identify what that thing is and then speak about it in a way that is going to resonate with our soulmate clients. So that's what we're speaking at when it comes to the X factor. So what I'd love, what I'd be really curious to share, like given these really key transformations you've experienced, Jasmine, is how did you find they translated into your life and business? I know you mentioned around your social media growing and becoming more active. I also know you had some very exciting money and business wins during our time together, if you would be open to sharing with us. And you also, even before we started this recording, you had a really exciting share about a really big dream that you had, that you shared with me when we started working together. You said, I have this dream. And then even before we started recording, you shared with me that this dream is coming true. So would you be able to share a few things that actually like really manifested in your life during our work and after our work as a result of this work?
Yeah. So one thing was I took a break with my in-laws. We were on holiday for 2 weeks, and I signed a client, out of nowhere, a very dream client, really amazing to work with on holiday. I thought that you needed to, just constantly be working and. How can you sign a client on holiday, right? But that was something that manifested. And I noticed that when I take an intentional break and I'm just like living my life, which is something that I just do now. I live my life. Social media is an extension of it. As long as I'm enjoying my life, that is the energy that I find. That's when clients come to me, or that's when someone purchases a course, like when I least expect it. Right. So that's one thing. Another thing is, yes, we're going to Europe. This has been a dream of mine since I was a 13-year-old One Direction fan. Going to England and places like that. So that I didn't think would be going this year, but it's happening. We're leaving tomorrow. So that's also really exciting. My husband treated me to my first luxury bag. I mean, I don't know. I never thought that would happen either. So that's also something that manifested, just feeling like this like new level of love and polarity, intimacy in our marriage. That is, yeah, another thing that manifested. What else? Yes, my Instagram growing, community growing. And yeah, those are some tangible things. Yeah.
And your, relationship with money as well. Remember, you shared with me you raised your rates.
Yeah.
Sign on clients
Yeah,
at the
I
new rates
did.
as well.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that too.
Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, and I want to go a level deeper in this, because you're speaking about the higher level transformations that you just felt on a deep cellular level, and then some of the many ways that this manifested in your life and your business. So the next question I want to ask is, what did it mean for you to be able to create these shifts in your life?
What did it mean for me? It just meant more peace. It meant freedom, and not just like time, location freedom, because I already had that, but freedom from constant, cycles I found myself trapped in, so as to say, that weren't serving me. Peace of mind, being able to relax, and peace. It is one of my values, peace. I really value peace. So it meant just feeling lighter in life. Yeah, and being in alignment. That's what peace and
Mm-hmm.
freedom really means to me. So
And how, when you say being in alignment, just so again, we're being clear with people who are like, okay, what does that mean? What does being in alignment mean for you?
it to me, it means when I'm in flow with, let's say with ideas, ideas with content. It just keeps coming. I feel passionate about it. Things are just happening, right now, like my community is still growing. Things are just happening in our life that are in flow, like we're traveling, where we've stayed and found wonderful places to live in. It's just like a flow of really great manifestations that keep on
Mm.
happening.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Mm.
And the reason why I'm I love hearing you speak about this is because I remember before we started working together, something that came out of your mouth quite a few times is that you were feeling burnt out, and so it's like really incredible to hear you say like, I'm in flow and things are flowing and I feel in alignment and I feel peace, because before it was this feeling of burning out. And I remember even you sharing with me of like this constant chasing. I'm chasing money. I'm chasing success. I'm going for it. I'm feeling stressed. And also the amount of pressure that you were putting on yourself to perform as a coach, to perform online for other people. So what would you say, based on our work together, how were you able to shift that? Were there certain frameworks, certain ways of thinking, certain ways of methodologies that you're able, for example, if someone comes to you and asks you like, oh my gosh, in those 4 months, how did you go from burnout to being in flow? Like, what were the biggest shifts that needed to happen? What would you say they were?
It was actually, and again, we didn't directly go into this in our time together, but it was the result of us doing this work. It was me coming back into my healthy feminine, which also looked like I wasn't wearing the pants anymore in my relationship. I took them off. And yeah. And I learned to let go of control. I learned to let my husband take the lead, which he happily did. Any masculine man enjoys leadership. And I just learned to lean back in that way and to surrender more and to embody my healthy feminine. I learned to prioritize rest and trusting that, shifting my beliefs around money in that way, in that, when I rest, that creates space for money to come to me. And no longer am I going to be chasing, why isn't the point of money to be able to relax and rest? So what's the point of me chasing and hustling if it's that it doesn't make sense? So that was one thing we talked about, one thing I reframed. And I remember one thing very clearly you said to me was letting go of that codependent relationship with money. That was huge for me and something I learned to embody, where it was you encouraged me to do at least one thing every day that allows me to feel like money's here now. So for example, for me, it looked like, bringing up feelings of peace, relaxation, joy. So it looked like going to sunbathe every day, just doing things to ignite that feeling of it's already here, I already have it, making that a priority, and feeling like I'm enough and I have enough now in this moment. So doing things from that energy. And that was a shift I made, which was really potent. So yeah, these are a couple of things.
Wow. Yeah. I love that you're speaking into this as well, because it's such an important thing for anyone who's listening and is asking themselves the question, okay, well, I want to make more money, or I want to have a healthier relationship. And I want to go to Europe or whatever country you want to go, whatever your dream vacation is. So this is such an important ingredient of the work that we do, is to land your nervous system in the peaceful, calm feeling of the thing I'm calling in is here now. And this is such a powerful teaching moment, because this is where a lot of people struggle, because there's this constant chase. I want this much money, it's over there. I want the dream house, it's over there. I want that vacation, it's over there. I want that relationship, it's over there. And it creates this gap of, I need to, depending on the conditioning that the person's working with, a lot of people, especially in Western society, are unfortunately been programmed to, I need to work really hard for it. The amount of hours I work is going to basically determine how worthy I am of being a member of society. And the amount of money I make, I need to earn it in this specific way. And it's directly tied to the amount of hours worked. And if I rest, God forbid I rest, and God forbid I'm not being productive, as again is defined by society, then everything's going to fall apart around me, right? And this is something that even when I work with women specifically, it's ingrained in men and women, but I see this very pronounced in women, of I can't sit back and I can't be in a receptive state, because if I'm in a receptive state, then I'm not actually going to receive. And there's like this mistrust of life, this mistrust that what happens if, I can speak, and I know you relate with this. And as a woman, I can say like the moments when I'm resting, or the moments where I'm taking it easy and just letting my body relax, are actually the moments where I get the most productive. Like I'll just be sitting like doing something that brings me a lot of ease and joy. And then all of a sudden comes in an idea for a program. And then I just go like, oh my God. And then I take out my notebook and I just basically, my entire program just gets downloaded in 20 minutes, which is not something I could ever do if I said at 3 p.m. this Thursday, I'm going to sit down in front of my laptop and I'm going to sit my ass down for 5 hours and I'm going to make this program come out of me. There's no way. And if I did force myself to do it, it just doesn't sell as well either. So there's a different way of working with energy, especially feminine energetics, that allows you to come into alignment to your soul, to come into alignment with your heart, to be in a receptive state and actually receive the creative ideas that are then you're then going to activate your masculine to go and implement into, of course, you got to build a program. You can't just sit there and be like, all right, here's the program. Come, sales, you're going to create the post. You're going to create the call to action. But all of that is coming, like you said before, it's coming from a different energy. It's not coming from this like burnt out, pushing, I got to do more energy. But as you've shared, it's coming from I feel really nice. I feel really relaxed. I feel really easeful, joyful. Okay, I'm going to write this post and I'm going to sell this, and then boom comes a sale, and then you're on vacation and boom comes that dream client. And so it's just a different way of operating. And so the biggest shift that you're speaking to, that I'm really seeing even reflected as I speak to you now, I'm like, I can feel you even now, is when you start to create that peace in your nervous system, which looks like the work we've done. We released a lot of emotional blocks. We released a lot of trauma that lived in your body. There was a lot of tears and laughter and sadness and grief and shame that just needed to literally just move through your body in real time. And that's, the biggest change actually happens through the body. And so, we needed to do a lot of body somatic transformations to really allow you to feel safe in your body, in your new way of being again. And once that shift happens in your nervous system and you're like, oh, I am worthy. Wait, I am lovable. Wait, I do get to have the kind of money I want. I do get to have the relationship I want. The next step is what you're speaking into, which is, okay, what does it look like and feel like if you had all of that now, instead of over there that day, like instead of perpetuating the stressful gap of I don't have it right now and it's not here with me and then stressing out about it? What does it feel like to have it here now? And that's what you've practiced. And you were so committed to that, and I really congratulate you for that, because this is where the work is the actual discipline to be like, oh, interesting. I'm stressing out, freaking out about money right now. So instead of indulging in those old stories and allowing my mind to sweep me away into this train of thoughts that is only going to keep looping and keeping me stuck in my past way of being, instead of doing that, I'm going to stop that. And I'm going to go out to the sun and I'm going to trust, and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to work with my nervous system and I'm going to work with my body so that she can receive the feeling of being safe, worthy, and taken care of now. And it's not an easy feat. It requires commitment. When we talk about working hard, a lot of people have this misconception of hard work being, I need to put in labor and stress for 12 hours and that's hard work. When actually there's a reframe to this, which is what you're speaking into, Jasmine, which is your work is actually getting yourself back into alignment. That's the quote unquote work. Because when you're in alignment, you're in flow. And so the work you do when you're in alignment doesn't actually feel like work. But the energy and the, I don't want to do this, and the resistance really lies in that moment where you're about to go on autopilot and do the thing that you were doing in the past, which is not going to lead to any change. Because for change to happen, you need to change. And being like, I'm not going to go back that same old road again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my energy and momentum and I'm going to shift gears and go back into alignment. And then I back again, and it gets easier and easier and easier. So I'm really glad that you're speaking into this because it is really powerful. So, you've shared some really powerful insights around the work that you've done and the transformations that you've received. And I would be curious if we were to take everything that you've shared with us so far and just wrap it in a nice, clean bow. In summary, what would you say has changed from before and after you going through this 4-month program?
Overall, before I was more stressed, more in that scarcity, chasing energy. And now I'm in that just way more peaceful, way more relaxed, just relaxed energy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, those are the words coming up right now. Just going from stressed, constantly chasing to relaxed and feeling abundant in a new way. Yeah, abundant.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I guess another transformation is before I was more fast paced, but again, coming from that chasing energy to now I've shifted some things in my business and my life where I go more slow paced now. And I'm so, okay, I love that. I'm so okay with it because my worth isn't attached to how much money I make anymore. And I'm prioritizing things I enjoy doing, not that I should do. So yeah, going from that fast pace to slowing down, letting myself breathe, prioritizing my nervous system. Yeah, I would
Beautiful.
say that.
Beautiful. All so important. And, for those people who are listening and they're considering, either doing this work in a private setting or maybe, group coaching, as I do have those options as well coming out now. For those people, who would you recommend this program you've taken to? Who's like the best fit for it and why would you recommend it to them?
Yeah. I'd say your containers are a great fit for anyone who just wants to see themselves. I mean, if you're afraid of seeing yourself and being truthful with yourself, I mean, it's just,
It
you're
ain't
going to
gonna
go
work.
deep. It's Celine.
You
There's
gotta
no
go deep.
hiding that. Yeah. If you want to hide, maybe not. Like, there's no hiding. There's no hiding. So if you're ready to just finally, I think especially if you're a professional, like if you're, a coach, because I'm a coach, or any other, if you're just in this profession and you want to gain more clarity on who you are and you want to gain more confidence, you want to be in alignment and you're just ready to make your life 100 times better, then yeah, I mean, I guess that's what I really experienced in your container. It's deep work that is deep. You're going to face your shadows. It's going to be uncomfortable, but it's all like, I loved it. I actually loved it. Even though I cried in pretty much all of our sessions, it was needed. And you really helped me to release a lot. And yeah, if that's what you're looking for, if that's what you're into and you're sick of all the BS and you just want truth and honesty, then yeah, this is definitely the container.
Like so many tears, but don't worry, it's also fun. Lots of laughter as well. Sometimes I'm like, when my clients are like, and then I cried and then I released all these things, I'm like, okay, but anyone who's listening and feeling called to this, just know we also get to have fun
Yeah.
and we make things more light. But yeah, sometimes, the density needs to get cleared so we can rise into higher frequencies.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. And something that you've also had a unique experience to that I'd love if you could share with us because, obviously we're here talking about the private coaching container and also recognizing that in these containers, I have very limited spots, just to be real, right? And currently there's a waiting list to work with me privately. So, but some people listening to this might be like, okay, some of you are thinking, yep, definitely want the private coaching. I want it now. In which case, you can go ahead and apply for that on my website. There's a process that my lovely team will take you through to see if you're the right fit. And then there's some people that are thinking either, I don't want to be on the waiting list. I want to do this work now. And maybe there's different containers for, there are in my product suite, I offer different levels of containers at different stages that you're currently at. And I know, for example, Jasmine, you were in my world couple years before you said yes to the private coaching container. As you mentioned, you did 2 story clarity intensives with me first, which are my one-off sessions. I offer them. Currently, it's on a limited basis. If you're on my email list, you'll know when I offer them. But also, you took my courses, and I know you took a course before you started working with me privately, and you took several of my courses while you were working with me privately. So it would be really wonderful if you could share with whoever's listening, and maybe they're considering going into one of my courses first, or even going into the journey, which is my 12-month all access pass that gives you access to my treasure chest of courses, masterclasses, meditations, and really allows you to self-guide yourself through this work, but while also having live touch points with me. There's quarterly Q&As with me. There's guest experts that come in and answer your questions live. I do live masterclasses where I answer your questions live. So it's a really wonderful way as well to get that experience of going through this journey with my guidance. Would you be able to speak, Jasmine, to what your experience has been in the digital courses, and also how did you feel like without having the private coaching component? Did you feel like you got what you needed from beginning to end? And who would you recommend the courses and the journey to?
I absolutely loved the Master Your Story course, which I took alongside the private coaching. That was just like the icing on the cake. That was so in depth. I really, really enjoyed it. I remember I woke up every day looking forward to studying, a module from it. So that was, really deep. It was like, that's the one I'd say, like, if you're not yet ready to invest in private coaching, go for that course if you're interested in the course, the Master Your Story, because it's so in depth, and there is a lot in there. Celine literally teaches you to manifest your dream life in that. In a way that really works, because you go through subconscious techniques, reprogramming techniques in that. I loved it. I really, really loved it. And then as for masterclasses, I remember I took your premium pricing masterclass. I think that
Pricing
was.
themselves,
Yeah, that one. And so if you are in business, maybe I think for coaches, this one really resonates, and you want to up your pricing. Maybe you're very burnt out. You have a lot of clients on your hands, but you're afraid to raise your prices. If you feel icky around charging thousands, this is a good masterclass for you to heal your relationship with that and to have the confidence to raise your prices. I really enjoyed that. And then there was another one on rewrite your money story, I believe. That was a really good masterclass as well. More, it can pair up with the premium pricing masterclass for sure, because premium pricing is one thing, and then relationship with money is another thing, but it pairs up. They're like cousins. And so, I'd recommend them both for, I guess, coaches who want to take their services and business to the next level. And you want a premium sort of business. And those are really great masterclasses.
And I remember you took first, before you started working with me privately, you took School Story. I know this is a common question that comes up. Would you be able to share what was the difference for you, like with School Story? What did you receive from that? And I know you said you loved Master Your Story, because sometimes people also are like, oh, what's the difference? And I always explain, one's an introductory, the other one's like level 2, more subconscious reprogramming. But it'd be amazing to hear in your words, since you went through them both, and actually School Story was one of the reasons you decided to come into private work. What was the key difference for you in those 2 programs?
So the Master Your Story is way more in depth. That's like, I would say, the next level up from School of Story. School of Story is a great place to start. Maybe if you don't want to overwhelm yourself with, not that it's overwhelming, Master Your Story, but it is deep. It's a lot. And so you could start off with School of Story, and then, if you're like, oh, I like this sort of work, I want to go deeper, then do Master Your Story. Master Your Story. The School of Story is great if you want to, I guess, really anchor into your brand message. That's what I found really powerful from that. I learned about connecting with your why in that course, which was, that was just standout. Like, that changed a lot for me. That's the main difference. It's just a level it's like a more of an introductory level, and then Master Your Story applies to more your life, I would say, life design. School Story maybe more to your business, your brand. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is perfectly summarized. Thank you. I don't think I would have said it better myself because to me, it's so clear. I'm like, but it's always wonderful to hear clients who go through it and be able to hear them articulate it in their words. And I think it will be helpful as well for my audience because I know I explain it my way, every which way. But yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And for those of you who are listening to this, just so you're aware, everything is going to be, I'm going to link to all of these in the show notes. But what Jasmine has mentioned is, number one, School Story, which is my self-study course to really help you uncover, write, and share your brand story. So as Jasmine has shared, this is really centered around finding your brand message for your business. The next level up for that, I would say the School Story is the high school diploma, and then you move on to the college degree, the PhD, which is Master Your Story, and that's all around taking that brand story that you've created in School Story and really transforming it into you becoming that story and applying it not just in your business, but in different areas of your life. So in Master Your Story, we dive deeper into subconscious reprogramming, old belief systems, how to shed those belief systems, and how to essentially, find, like similar to what Jasmine was sharing, you find your X factor from a really deep place of within. It's more of the branding part plus the inner work that's really going to allow you to become that trusted guide in your space, as Jasmine has just created with herself. And then the other one she's mentioned is premium pricing that sells, and that's a masterclass to support you with authentically raising your rates in a way that's in integrity, feels really nourishing to you, and is also going to be a magnet for your soulmate clients. And the other one she mentioned is Love Money Again, which is my money mindset and energy healing course, which is really around repatterning your relationship with money and healing your relationship with money on a cellular nervous system level. And you're right, they pair perfectly, Jasmine. And that's why I also have, I offer a bundle called Rewrite Your Money Story. Will all be linked out, which includes premium pricing. It includes Love Money Again. And it also includes a wealth activation practice, which Jasmine, you also went through. And I remember it being really powerful for you as well. And last but not least, if you're like, okay, all of these courses sound amazing, I want all of them, then the invitation is that you come into the journey, which is my 12-month container. It's a self-led experience that includes group mentoring where you can come in, you have access to all of my courses. We also give you a roadmap of how to navigate them in a way that will take you from A to B. And what I really love about the journey is that you have access to my meditations, you have access to these courses, to my masterclasses. Every single offering I've ever created in my body of work is available to you, instant access, and you also get access to everything I will be creating in the next 12 months, which I can tell you there's some really exciting programs and masterclasses that we'll be doing in the next year that you don't want to miss out on. So there's also live Q&As. There is opportunity for live group coaching. So that will be an amazing way for you to receive everything we've talked about in a group setting. So you can also go ahead and check that out in the show notes. So Jasmine, thank you so much for sharing all of this with us. And, your work is incredible. I love what you do. I love your voice. And for those of you who actually want to go and experience, everything she's saying, what her X factor is, and how she confidently shows up on social media and creates incredible content, would you be able to share with us how we can find you?
Yeah, sure. So my Instagram, that's my main place, which is Jasmine Lipska. I also have a podcast called Bloom Brighter, so you can find more in-depth topics on there about masculine, feminine energy, relationships, and manifestation. Yeah.
Wonderful. I will link all of that in the show notes. Thank you, Jasmine. And before I let you go, is there any final things, insights that you want to share with anyone who just went through that entire journey with us? Anything to any cherries on top to share with them?
Yeah, so I guess I'd love to just wrap up by saying that something that you taught me in the container was something that you reflected back to me was when you listen to your soul, it always ends up better than you could have ever imagined. And that was one of the greatest takeaways I took from our container. You reflected that back to me. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Yeah. Because investing into private coaching, it was an investment. It felt uncomfortable at first. It always can when it's a large sum of money. But my soul was really just felt the call, it felt the push. And not even this, but every other investment I've made that felt scary, not once have I regretted it, because I listened to my soul. So if your intuition is telling you to do private coaching or book that trip or go travel, even if it feels uncomfortable, if you lean into it, it'll always turn out better than you could have ever imagined, which is what happened in our container, for example. I couldn't have expected that I expected wonderful things, but that, like, the way it manifested, I could have never predicted it exactly. So it always turns out better than you can never ever imagine when you listen to your soul. Yeah.
Wow. That's a serious golden nugget. And I'm glad that you reflected back to me the thing I reflected back to you. I'm like, oh, it's the gift that keeps on giving. It's the insight that keeps on inciting. Wonderful. Well, Jasmine, thank you so much for being with us here today. And for those of you listening who are inspired by her story, definitely go check her out. And I'll speak to you very soon.
Thank you for having me, Celine.
Thank you, beautiful humans, for tuning into today's episode of It's Not What You Think. If you loved what you received today, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on future episodes, and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, as it helps us reach even more amazing listeners like you. If we aren't already connected on social media, come receive even more tips and inspiration by following me on Instagram at Celine DaCosta, or visiting my website at CelineDaCosta.com. After listening to this episode, I invite you to take a few moments to reflect. What stood out to you? What were your key takeaways or breakthroughs? And if there was one action step you could take from this, what would it be? Thank you again for joining me on this journey. I'm sending you so much love, and I can't wait to connect in the next episode. Until then, keep sharing your unique gifts and living out your most magical life.